In today's lecture, we are going to discuss runtime environment, what is runtime environment and what is activation record. So suppose there are multiple functions, function A, function B, function C and function D, and function A is calling to function B is calling to function C and function C is calling to function D. Like here, suppose A function is here and it is doing some calculation, and after that calculation it is calling to function B. Then that function B is doing some calculation and calling to function C, like this. So what will happen whenever a function calls B, whenever function A calls another function B, then one activation record will be created. What will happen? One activation record will be created and it will be pushed into the stack. It will pushed into the stack because control is going from function A to function B, and after coming back from function B to A itself take the information from function B, because this information is required in function A, that's why function A called to function B. So whenever a function A is given or call function B, then at that time what will happen? One activation record get generated. One activation record generated. So these are known as these functions, we can say they are running so runtime environment. And because one function, or we can say a function calling to B, so whenever it's calling to B, then whatever variables, whatever things we are using in function A, that need to be stored, So for that purpose, what we supposed to do, we need to store these values. For storing these values, what is required? Activation record. So what we are having in activation record, what things we are having? We are having return address. What we are having? We are having actual parameters. What we are having? We are having machine status. Machine status means that it is dead or it is running, and how many resources it is using. Access link, that non-local data from which function it came, global variables, all these things. Control link means which function you are calling, like A function is calling to B. Local data, as I'm saying, variables. And temporary data, like if we are swapping something from one variable to another variable, so we need temporary data for a time being. So all these things comes under activation record. Return address, whenever, as I've said, whenever function A is calling function B and function B is completing its things, then it will return back to function A. So that is the return address. Actual parameter, whatever variables and we are using. Machine status is it is dead or it is working, and how many resources it is using. Access link, we can say non-local data. And control link, we can say which function you are calling. Which function you are calling. Local data, variables, temporary data, as I'm giving one example, if we are storing something somewhere for a time being, so that is temporary data. So all these things get stored in activation record. Whenever at runtime environment we are calling multiple function and one function is calling to another, so for a time being to storing the data of all these things, because when we are going from one function to another function, so the first function things we need to store somewhere, because when we are going to another function and after completing all the things on that function, when we are coming back to A, so wherever we are, we need those things. So for that purpose, activation record is required. So here we are able to see 4 functions are there: A calling to B, B calling to C and C calling to D, right? So in A, B, and this B function is calling to C, right, and this C function is calling to D function, like this. And D, so like this I'm writing. So this is known as runtime environment, and every time for every function when it is calling to another function, activation record is required, which is storing these kinds of things. So when we are talking about we are storing something, so definitely storage allocation is required. So definitely what is required? Storage allocation is required. What is the storage allocation? Storage allocation can be of three type. What they are, where we are storing all these things in the form of activation record. So what is this and what kind of this? Three kind: static storage allocation, the first one. Second one, stack storage allocation, and the third one, heap storage allocation. So this is all for this lecture. In the next lecture we are going to learn storage allocation, in which these are the three types. So one type I'm going to discuss. If you like it, if you like the video, like it, subscribe it, and comment below. And what next you want to learn in the lecture, let me know in the comment section. Thanks.